Here's a question. You've been on my show like a half a dozen times, and here's a question that I never asked you, and it never dawned on me until his name just came up. And you guys were in the same family, if you will. Did you ever have any business or relations with Michael Franzese?
No, our time was different.
Okay.
He's a little bit older, maybe 10 years. So when he was around doing like that gas stuff and he was making a good name for himself and the family, I was a little too young. Didn't really meet Greg yet. When I did meet Greg, he had gotten in trouble. So now he was in and out of prison. Then eventually he made some kind of deal with the government, whatever he did to move on and leave. I don't know if he testified or anything like that, right. But I met him in California and I had dinner with him.
Did you really?
Yeah. And we had a really pleasant evening, him and his wife, and of course my wife, and we hit it off, and he said the same thing you said. He was very impressed with my shows. I says the same thing back to you. I says, yeah, I told him you're like a pioneer. You started this whole thing.
That's right. Sure.
And a lot of people, and I'm impressed by what you did too. So no, we hit it off. We were good. And he invited me a couple of times to do some things with him. And one of them, funny part, is in England, that I think the pandemic put that on hold. And I don't know if it's going to come back around, but but no, I got to know him that night better than, and we've been in touch since.
Did you reminisce about some of the old times and Greg and so on and so forth?
About who the guy, his father and Sonny and Greg. Absolutely. It's hard not to. It's hard not to. I meet guys now, even, we have reunions and stuff like that, or just, it's weird, but it's hard to not talk about it, even though we all moved on, we're living different lives, because there's just something about it.
It's a significant part of your life.
Well, that and a significant part of America.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Of cities, major. It's just, Greg once told me that America was built on crime. And he went back and started telling me how. He talked about all these people from Jesse James, from Al Capone, just kept going. And all the reasons. He said if it wasn't for Al Capone, there wouldn't be the Untouchables. He didn't call them that, whatever they were back then. I guess Organized Crime Task Force.
Right. Well, yeah, right.
And things. It's all the bank robbers. Then they needed Brinks trucks because they were robbing banks and they were robbing trains. And then Bugsy Siegel went and took the gambling to Vegas. I mean, so there's a history, and the mob was, and Cosa Nostra, more so than just criminals, were behind a lot of that. The union things, the Vegas, the building of Vegas. They were trying to take over Cuba.
Right.
So it's amazing stuff, and we were a small part of it, all of us. And who, like I talk about my relationship with Greg, he talks about his with Sonny, his father. I talk with Greg Jr. still. We talk probably once a week, and we can't help but to bring it up. And he said things that he just doesn't understand how his father got away with it, and we didn't know.
Right.
But in hindsight, we should have known, and the handwriting was right there in front of us. But yeah, it's hard not to.
Did Michael Franzese say he had any dealings with Greg?
I know he did, and he did say it. To be honest, I don't remember the details. It could have possibly been with cars, because back in those days, they were stealing these big Lincolns and doing tag jobs and sending them overseas.
I remember that. Yeah.
So there was a lot of that. And that was his time, and probably had to go see him maybe on behalf of his father. He definitely did. And he said he never had a bad thing to say about him, up until the end when everybody found out what he was doing all those years.
Yeah, right.
But he did. I don't know any details of business that he did. I've never added that.